Ultra-processed foods have addictive properties that exploit the brain's reward circuitry in ways that are disturbingly similar to substances of abuse, and the vulnerability to this pattern varies sharply between teenagers and adults. High levels of sugar, salt, fat, and engineered flavoring agents create chemical combinations the human brain was never designed to process. These ingredients trigger rapid dopamine surges, override satiety signals, and push people into cycles of compulsive eating that feel increasingly out of their control. While both teens and adults are susceptible, the nature of the addiction and the long-term consequences differ in ways that make the problem far more dangerous than most people realize. Teenagers are hit hardest because their brains are still developing, especially in regions involving reward, impulse control, and emotional regulation. The adolescent brain is uniquely sensitive to dopamine spikes, and ultra-processed foods deliver those spikes with brutal reliability. Teens who consume sugary drinks, fast foods, chips, or packaged sweets experience a rush of pleasure far more intense than what the developing brain expects from food. Over time, this overstimulation dulls the brain's sensitivity to dopamine, meaning teens need more of the same foods to achieve the same reward. This is classic addiction physiology, and in teens it happens faster and more intensely because their neural circuitry is still wiring itself. The result is a pattern of compulsive eating that teens cannot fully understand or control. They may feel unable to stop snacking, constantly crave something sweet or salty, or binge on fast food even when they're not hungry. And because teens naturally experience stronger emotions, more stress, and less mature impulse regulation, processed foods quickly become a coping mechanism, something to numb boredom, anxiety, loneliness, or peer pressure. The danger is that these patterns get encoded into lifelong habits. A teen who grows up reaching for sugar to cope with stress is far more likely to carry that behavior into adulthood, setting the stage for obesity, diabetes, and emotional overeating years before symptoms appear. Adults, meanwhile, face a different form of vulnerability, one shaped by stress, exhaustion, and depleted willpower. The adult brain is not as easily stimulated by dopamine spikes as the adolescent brain, but adults often live with chronic stress, irregular sleep, and financial or emotional strain. These conditions lower self-control and intensify cravings for immediate pleasure, which ultra-processed foods deliver with ruthless efficiency. Adults often turn to these foods at the end of long workdays, during moments of emotional fatigue, or whenever stress becomes overwhelming. The result is not just overeating, it's a cycle of dependency where emotional discomfort reliably triggers the urge to eat something high in sugar, fat, or salt. This makes adults highly vulnerable to habit-based addiction. Instead of a single binge, adults develop repetitive, automatic patterns: nightly desserts, constant snacking while working, fast food during commutes, or eating to cope with emotional burnout. These routines are extremely difficult to break because they are reinforced by both biology and lifestyle. Over time, processed foods weaken the brain's reward sensitivity, just as alcohol or nicotine would, requiring larger portions or more intense flavors to feel satisfied. Adults may notice that foods they once enjoyed no longer taste as good, or that they feel driven to eat far more than intended. These are early signs of dependency, ones many overlook until the health consequences become unavoidable. Another factor that worsens addiction in both teens and adults is the engineered nature of modern processed foods. These products are crafted specifically to maximize Bliss point, the exact combination of sugar, salt, and fat that triggers the strongest reward response without ever creating true satisfaction. This means the more people consume these foods, the more they crave them, yet the less satisfied they feel. It is a biochemical trap, and the food industry uses it intentionally. Adults often rationalize this behavior as stress eating or lack of discipline, but the truth is harsher. Their brains are being manipulated by foods designed to override natural appetite regulation. Meanwhile, teens are conditioned to associate junk food with pleasure, social connection, and emotional relief, embedding these associations long before they have the maturity to question them. The long-term consequences are severe. Children who develop addictive eating patterns early are far more likely to become adults struggling with weight gain, metabolic disease, and mental health issues. Adults caught in cycles of emotional eating often face worsening insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and reduced cognitive resilience. And in both groups, ultra-processed food addiction erodes the ability to enjoy natural foods, making a healthy diet feel bland, unsatisfying, or even emotionally uncomfortable. The warning is stark. Ultra-processed foods are not harmless treats. They are engineered substances capable of creating addiction-like behaviors across all age groups. Teenagers are at higher risk of rapid neural adaptation and lifelong dependency. Adults are at higher risk of falling into entrenched behavioral loops fueled by stress and emotional exhaustion. In both cases, the addiction progresses silently, often unnoticed until health, mood, and self-control have already deteriorated. Without recognizing the addictive design of modern food, many people, especially teens, will continue consuming products that reshape their brain chemistry, weaken their metabolic resilience, and trap them in habits that become harder to escape with every passing year.